Hey there, e-bike fans. In this video, we're going to be talking specifically about suspension seat post. In this one, actually, specifically, we're going to be talking about the Zoom suspension seat post and the Lectric XP, the installation. I'm going to be showing a demo on step-by-step to go and get this onto the stock seat that's on here. What we can also about the sizing of the seats here and what you should know about whether or not this will fit on your particular bike. Now, I am using the Lectric step-thru model, so if you have one of these bikes, then you'll have a really good idea on it. You kind of have to make better judgments when you're using any of the other models based on the height that already is on the other bikes, like the classic step-thru model. But these seat posts, all Zoom models will work with the installation process that we're going to be talking about with any bike and pretty much any other seat. I have the Lectric seat as a demo also, so for those of you Lectric owners, you'll get a good idea. I also have some generic seats that just you can buy off the market and typically how they come. I also have the Cloud9 seat, and I won't be showing every step on every single one because they're all the same really. There are some minor differences which I'll be explaining, but for the most part that's going to be our demo today. I'm also going to be announcing the two winners of the drawing that we had for last week's. For that, we'll be getting two of the suspension seat posts made and branded specifically for the e-bike products channel that was made, that has the branding on it here. So there's two lucky winners that will be getting these as well, along with the Bamboo Boxer shirts. So I'll be announcing that in the video as well. All right, so with that, let's get started with the suspension seat post installations and going ahead and announcing our winners. Okay, so before we get started with the actual installation process and all the other steps that go along with that, let's go ahead and cut to the clip of the drawing for those that won the post and the shirts from Bamboo Boxer Company, and congratulations. All right, so this is really exciting. It's time to go ahead and draw our winners for those that entered for winning one of the Zoom seat post by ebikeproducts.com. And along with the post, there's also going to be one of the lobster claws that we are sending out with the product, and we've actually added also e-bike product sticker that's actually inside this post that I've stuck in here as well, put into this envelope with the Bamboo Boxer shirts that I've been promoting, courtesy of Bamboo Boxer, helping us out getting some of these. So there's gonna be two winners on this, and we had 52 of you that commented on the video, and you can see the list here on the screen. We're gonna use the random number generator, and we're going to start with 1 to 52. Once we hit generate, that's going to be our first winner. And so the first winner is 35. So congratulations to Wasabi76. You are the first winner, and we're going to do one more generation. And this second winner is number 6, Steven Watanabe. Winner number 2. Congratulations to you both. I will be sending out these products to you guys, and please make sure that you send me an email to the email address listed above here so I can go ahead and get your shirt size, and then also the address that you want me to send the email to, the product out to. And again, congratulations. Thank you all for commenting on this channel. I greatly appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you guys back in the video talking about the post. All right, thank you guys all so much for your support on this channel and with all the comments that came in, and congratulations to the winners there. So let's go ahead and get started on this. And I want to mention first off, these posts are now being sold. Currently, depending on when you're watching this video, we do have about a few dozen left of the post. Thank you for those that made a purchase, and the reason why I'm making this video is because we had so many purchases. I want to make sure that I show how the installation, how easy it is to do it, and the ways that you can go ahead and make your adjustments and get it on as quickly as possible. But we do have this on the ebikeproducts.com website now. They're selling currently, my prices might change depending on how the supplier can go in and get me more product or not, for $29.95. That includes tax and shipping at this time for the stock that's in place right now. So if you want to get one of these, they are 31.6 millimeter posts. They are made with the right size specifically to fit both Lectric XP models. So if you have a Lectric XP, you don't have to worry whether or not this post will fit. The Zoom makes maybe about 5 or 6 different sizes of the different posts, and sometimes it can be confusing which one you need to get. Just so you know, 31.6 is made to fit the Lectric XP. So that's the only post size that I sell. You don't have to worry. If you get one of those, that's the size you're going to be getting. In the future, I don't know if they will continue to have the branding on them. I will try to continue to have that put on there. I'm not able to get any more, at least till the end of March is when they can start sending them out. And that, even after that, will take probably about June till the posts get replenished and in stock. They do have these black posts available for me with red tops. I'm really debating or not whether I should bring those in, because I know that the red tops are the slowest movers based on what I've seen with the other vendors that sell the Zoom post. But you can really not see it. So I'd love to hear in your comments, does it matter if this piece at the top to you is red? The rest will be black. If it doesn't, then, and I get enough comments that say go ahead and bring it in, I'll probably bring in maybe, I don't know, maybe 100 or 2 to get in stock and replenish. And then I'll also be throwing up on Amazon. So those of you who prefer to get stuff on Amazon, I'll be doing it there as well. I don't know what the prices will be when I get them. Right now, the supply chain for all bike parts are really tight. And like I said, I can't get these black ones anymore. They're not available from the supplier till March. And then for me to get them from Asia to where, from the supplier sending it to me with the branding on it, and we'll probably get it till maybe, like I said, about June or so. So for those of you who are wanting or deciding whether or not you should get one, I highly recommend getting them now. Now, what I'm going to be doing with the demo, I'm going to be using a post that does not have the branding. It's exactly the same. They just put my branding on it. And the reason being is I don't want to ruin any merchandise that I plan to sell to one of you guys who might be buying it. But I'll be using this post here. It's exactly the same. There's no difference. And I also am not able to, but I'd like to get more of these silver posts. So more, if you guys have comments on that, I'd love to know what you guys think about the silver color. This is what I use because it matches really nicely with the white models of the bike. But to be honest, they look really cool even on the black because it stands out and it's chrome. You know, it has this silver chrome shine onto it, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so let's get started with the installation. And first and foremost, most of you probably already know how to do your adjustments on your seat. You can just go ahead and open up the quick release, pull the seat out, and here you go. You have your seat ready to go. Now, first, I want to also mention about the sizing. So you need to know whether or not this is going to fit you if you're the right size. If you put this seat post in here and go all the way down and tighten it here, it's not recommended that it go that low because of the neck. At this point here, it actually gets thinner. So as you can see here, it gets thinner at the top here, so that means the clamp is not clamping. It should be a little higher, but most people who maybe do not have the height that they need to go ahead and ride it with it a little higher, they will go all the way down, and it's okay because it won't slide, drop any lower. The only thing that you need to worry about is it could turn left and right, but that's not really that much of a safety issue as long as the post doesn't drop lower on you, surprisingly. Now, this here will be about a 30-inch height that comes down here. With this post being put in, because you have the stopper that comes at this point, you're gonna gain about an extra 2 inches. So if you're using one of these all the way to the bottom, raise it 2 inches, and if you can still fit it, then this post will work great for you. And then you have the suspension that goes up and down as well. Now, the other cool thing about these Zoom posts is they actually have an adjustable bottom here. So with the adjuster, you can go ahead and just get an Allen wrench. You can stick it in here, and you can actually make your adjustments to either tighten it. By tightening it all the way, it compresses the spring. So for those of you who may be a little heavier on the spring here, and you don't want it bouncing and bottoming out so much, you can tighten it up. It'll tension up the spring, so it won't bounce so hard on you on that way as well. And for those of you who may be a little lighter, it can only go to the end where it's flush. You don't want to go where it's sticking out at any other point. That will be the most, but for the most part, me at about 160 pounds, I feel it nice and it's perfect about that time. If you're about maybe 130, you might want to bring it out just a little bit just to get a little more bounce to it. But these work great. I mean, that's the only thing I can tell you. You can go ahead and try your sizing there. So with this, you pulling it out. And as far as the height would go, these posts actually will go about up to, I think it was number 3. Yeah, that was. So if you have electric and you're taller, I think once you hit about the 6 foot mark, you really want to make sure you try this out first. Put it to the number 3 here on your post, and that is the height that you will get out of the maximum of this post here, is about the 3 mark. So try that there. If that 3 is still not tall enough for you, then this is not the post for you, okay? I know that some people, 6'1", 6'2", they don't need full leg extension when they actually pedal. They will say that it's fine. Don't forget that it actually does go up and down, so you will get some of that range. When you sit on it, that'll come back down. But for the most part, that's where the height, max height seat will be, about a 3 on this here. So test that out. Now, that's really high. It comes up to about here for me when I have it at that height. And I don't know, even a 6-footer, I guess maybe people that are taller than that, you're gonna have some leg extension issues, but it may not be an issue at all as well. But like I said, that 3 is the best place for you to start with that. Okay, so now let's get started with this. Once you pull out your seat here, this is a typical type of bracket that you'll see on most seats. So when you buy a generic, I bought a sample of this to see if there are different seats, and you can see how they operated or how they performed. On one of the other videos, if you look back through the channel, you'll see I tested all of these different seats with the Zoom seat posts on here. But all the seats came with this bracket here. And that's very typical. It's a very common thing. The only thing that's not typical is Lectric XP stock nuts here are 14 millimeter. So with a 14 millimeter ratchet set, you can put that here, or a 14 millimeter wrench. You can actually use that here. One or the other, doesn't really matter. You can then just go ahead and loosen these up, okay? For time's sake, I'm going to use the ratchet. Just go ahead and then this post will come right out. You're done with that. But you need to remove the whole bracket here. So we're going to just go ahead and remove that. And once it starts to loosen one side, actually even one side might be enough for you to go ahead and pull out the whole part here. And then this can actually then come out. So what you'll notice is that there's some teeth in here that hold this part in, and that's how you can adjust the tilt of the bike seat itself. And when it gets tightened, the teeth clamp in and it holds. But once there's enough tension on here that it might not seem like it comes out, but you can just go ahead and pop this out, and then everything just kind of falls out there. Okay, now we have just the rails sitting by itself. And then you'll see how the rails will just be installed here. So if those of you who think, oh, okay, I already got it. All the thing you really need to know is that this back, the screws are going toward the back. Okay, so let's go ahead and now install that. We're gonna get our sample here. What you will need is a 5 millimeter Allen wrench. So you can just go ahead and loosen that here. And just for time's sake, I also, again, let's go ahead and I'll use a 5 millimeter on a ratchet here. So I can just go ahead and loosen this off here. By the way, I highly recommend getting a ratchet for a lot of bike stuff, because Allen wrenches are great as a tool by themselves here. And you can do this and put it up here, but for the most part, a lot of times you have to keep in and out, in and out. Okay, so now once I have it loose enough, I'll go ahead and take this off. What you'll see also is that this is the same type of teeth ridging that has it. So basically this is how you can adjust the tilt of it. So when you find the right tilt, you kind of tighten it down, the teeth grab within the 2 areas that are right here that come in there. So again, make sure that you're putting it in so that these screws are toward the back. And what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and loosen this up some more. Actually, we'll do one side all the way out. Okay. So we have one side all the way out here. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that you have the rail, and if you look at the length of this rail here, you can adjust how far front or back the seat is, as well as the tilt with the teeth that are here. So let's go ahead and do this part now. Let me move forward. And then I'm going to put this here. So I'm turning the bracket at an angle up here, and then I'm going to put the rail in its place. Go ahead and move this. Okay, so basically it's still loose. I'll stick it here, and you can see I have it kind of hanging off there. One side is off, And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the rail and then turn this to get this other side on. Now be a little patient with it, and you also need, if you move this back and forth around, it also helps to give a little more leverage on it. But once you see it, it's kind of just sitting there and you have it there. A good idea you might want to also keep in mind is if you like to where your position of your seat was forward or back, take a mental note of where this bracket was on this rail. I'm going to just put it in the middle now because that's usually the easiest. The other thing you might want to take a mental note of is the angle. Like if you see note here, you already can see the angle of the post. So I already kind of know what angle, because I played around with these seats long enough, how I want it. And it's kind of like at a slight angle forward. And this is how I like to ride. And then once I have this here, so that's good mental notes to take before you go ahead and start putting this on. And then of course, once this is put on, I'll go ahead and use this real quick. Tighten this down a little. And then get the next screw. So I kind of like it over here, and it's going to be right here. Okay. Oh. All right. Now, what you want to make sure is that these brackets are kind of lining up with each other, both sides there, and it's lining up there. And again, I'm going to be, I already know my angle, so I can see my angle here. If you can see that, let's go ahead. I want it a little higher. Okay, so right about this level here, this is kind of where I'm going to want it. Hold it there, and then tighten this up. Tighten this up, and then once I need to really go tighter, it'll start to grab and put in there. And I kind of like to wiggle it around to make sure that all the teeth are grabbing. Okay, and then once they're tight enough there, let's go ahead and use my ratchet. Makes things so much easier there. Now, take note as well, if you have a torque wrench, there is a reading here that says how many Newton meters you should have actually this tightened at. Because if you try to go too tight, I mean, I guess naturally you're going to want to make it as tight as possible, make sure it doesn't fall off, but it says max 10 Newton meters. So let me go ahead and I'll show you what a torque wrench looks like. Okay, so I have actually this torque wrench here, and this one is rated to go between 2.26 Newton meters up to 22 Newton meters, which you can see right here. And basically it will tell me I can set it to 10 Newton meters using my adjustments here. Now I don't have this open at this point in time. I'm actually saving this for an unboxing to show you guys in another video how to use one of these, and I'll probably use the seat post as a good example. Throughout the bike, you will see that actually there are Newton meter readings on screws, and that's so that you don't accidentally over tighten and strip something, because like a seat post, this is a $30 seat post that can be replaced pretty easily. But if you strip something that's on the frame of the bike, that can be really, really devastating, because you won't be able to go ahead and fix that. So right now, I'm going to just say, if you have a torque wrench, by all means, try to go up to 10 Newton meters. I kind of already have a feeling what it's like. Okay, so I have my cheaper one here, and as you can see, it actually has its reading here. So when I try to tighten this, it'll go up to the 10, and then that's when I know where to stop it at. Okay, so that's 10 there. Okay, and of course, I guess it's an adequate one if you don't have one, because these things are quite expensive. I'll have the link below so you can take a look at it. But this is actually one that I'll be using on all the parts on the bike, especially in the handlebar section. You want to have a good torque wrench so that you don't strip something. All the professional mechanics use this, and you don't ever want to use this to loosen items as well. So don't use this just as a regular wrench. It's really only for tightening, because you want to make sure that you don't break it. These are highly calibrated, and they can get thrown off. Okay, so anyway, back to this. Let's go ahead. We'll fix this. We're finished with our installation here. Everything is set and ready to go. All we need to do is put this back on the bike. As you can see, just go here. Now I know I use this zoom word here. I know that I'm actually between the Z and the O, and I tighten it up. And then what you can do is you start testing out whether or not the front and back is good enough to do it. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that this post here is 31.8 millimeters. Okay, so it is a little thicker, where the zoom posts come at 31.6 at the largest. Also, what you might want to know is a 31.6 millimeter has 50 millimeters of range to go up and down, whereas any of the smaller posts that are not 31.6 have only 40 millimeters of range. So that's one of the benefits of actually having, I guess, one of these bikes with a 31.6. So because the post is thicker on the stock and this is a little thinner, what you do need to do is you want to make sure that you tighten the screw here. That is about a quarter turn. And the other way to do it also, when you're tightening the release, you want to make sure that you're tightening the release so that you're putting it just so that it's tight enough for the last part of it to touch, which is almost as strong as you can pull it. That's how you know when it's going to be tight. And the reason being is that you don't want the seat dropping or slipping down while you're riding if you don't have it tight enough. So I just want to make sure that's clear with this here. Make sure you turn this screw, the tightening screw, just after you open it up, turn it about a quarter turn before you stick the new, and you take this one out before you put the new one in there, turn it, so that you have to use a lot of tension to do it. Otherwise, it's going to be really easy to push this down. And that means if it's too easy to push down, that means that this post is not tightened enough on there. So that takes care of putting an Lectric XP post on. Now, with the Cloud 9, when you get one of these posts, so when you get your basic posts that come with most of the other brands that are out there, you will actually be needing a 13 millimeter there. But an adjustable wrench will work fine. Just that I like ratchets because they are so much faster to get them on and off. Now, again, it's the same concept that we did with the original post here, taking off the screws, putting them back on. And the only really, I guess, big issue was that a lot of people were saying the width of this area here seemed too wide. And originally, I kind of felt that too. It was kind of wide, but here's the thing. If you push it forward, because of the way on a zoom post, these rails start to angle closer, you'll be able to get them on here. And then go ahead and tighten them down. And if you do find that the seat is still too far back, then you can push it forward and start to move it a little. What starts to happen is the rails will start to actually bend toward the back to bring it come closer, because as you can see, it is actually fitting perfectly. Now, Jeremiah McIntosh, who also has Lectric, a lot of you probably are very familiar with him, and he did another post installation with the zoom post as well. He used a vice grip type pliers to go ahead and make them come together, which is great. I mean, that was a great idea. The only thing is that I didn't need one, and the way I did this worked perfectly fine. Using the actual tension of the screws, pulled it in by itself already all together. So that's something you can also try on that if you use a Cloud 9. These seats are really starting to come hard to come by. If you do get one of these though, I would highly recommend when you're shopping around if you're not in a rush, take your time and check back maybe like every 3 or 4 days on Amazon, because they do drop in price, and they also have sometimes coupon deals. I got mine for like $25 to $29, which is really cheap, because I saw that these were actually running for like $40 to $50 sometimes because of demand. So depending on where you're actually getting it from. Also be sure, if you're not really familiar with shopping for bargains on Amazon, make sure you check one of the other videos I made about how to shop on Amazon to get those bargains, because these Cloud 9s are also sold by other vendors, and if you're waiting for a little longer ship time, you can get it for a little cheaper as well. And I'll show you how to do that in that video that's in that. If you go back through the channel, you can find those. I'll also put a link about that video in the seat below. So again, for those of you who did not see the last video, these posts are now being sold on ebikesproduct.com. You can go to ebikesproduct.com/shop and it's $29.95. Again, includes shipping and tax. So this is what you pay out the door, $29.95. As for the continental US only, and we usually ship within 24 hours after the order comes in. For those of you who have ordered and supported the channel on getting that, I really appreciate that. I want to say thank you so much. My wife and I were pleasantly surprised that we were getting some of the inventory moved out, and now actually I'm concerned that I don't have enough to last too much longer. Again, these posts are 31.6 millimeter. So if you have a bike that actually fits that, if you're not sure what size post that your bike has, if you go to electricbikereview.com and you have an electric bike and they've done a review on it, in the description, they actually say what the seat post diameter is on a lot of their descriptions. So you can look on there. As long as it's 31.6, it should fit. I am not guaranteeing it'll fit unless you have Lectric XP. I know for sure 100% it fits all Lectric XPs. That's why I got these, because it is one of the highest volume selling bikes in the US. And again, we are sending these out. Priority mail, you get it in a few days after ordering it, and tracking gets sent to you right away. For those of you who did order, I'd love to see your comments below on what you thought about, because we're still getting this all together. The packaging and all that, how we get it, put it, what your thoughts were on, should we package it better? I mean, that is the cheapest way to make sure we can keep the price down, is the way that we packaged it. We're using these bubble envelopes that are plastic sealed. And again, the other thing that we're doing right now, depending when you're watching this video, we are actually giving away free lobster claw clips. If you have a case where you don't want your keys dangling around, you can actually just put a little keychain lobster claw, it'll come right up. In fact, let me get one. Let me show you that. We're giving away these lobster claw clips with the zoom post. We kind of you'll find it taped here to the post itself on the outside of the plastic, so that it doesn't put any sticky stuff on the post. But we're giving these away, and I have found that this is one of the coolest accessories, because as most of you know, for those of you who have e-bikes where you have to keep your key in, if you have your house keys and your other keys, or your bike lock key also, you don't want to have that hanging around on your bike and your battery, or in the Lectric XP case, sticking out at the bottom with all your other keys hanging around, because it could strike something. So this makes it a really convenient way to just clip it on and off itself. And you can get these probably at the dollar store, honestly, but I found a bulk buy that could get them, so I could just give them away as a bonus for making purchases here. So we're also adding this to the keys, not included, but the lobster claw keychain and key clip. So these, the ring and the clip come together. The other thing is that I have multiple, because whenever I want to undo the bike lock, I just put this in. So this is another thing I highly recommend. It makes, any type of clip. I'm huge on carabiners, but carabiners were big, and these just make it easy to go ahead and clip onto my ring, my master ring. Real quick, also, you guys are going to spend $30 on the post minimum. Maybe you might have buy one of those higher expensive $100, $200 post, and your seat, these run 40, 50 bucks depending where you're getting it from. So you're looking at almost $80 sitting on your bike. And if you have a quick release, that can easily be stolen in a heartbeat. If you run into the store, run back out, you can lock up your bike. But if you don't lock this up, somebody can walk off with it. Now, when I go to the market, what I was doing prior is I would actually take this seat, because it's smaller, pull it out, stick it in my backpack, go market it, go in the grocery store and buy it that way, so no one doesn't steal it. So what I decided though is that I did have one of these old crypto chain. These are pretty useless in protecting bikes nowadays, because any bolt cutter, or this can be cut in a half second with any type of really strong cutter. So they said, it's not really worth keeping. So I actually still carry this around though, so that I can loop through my seat and then to the post on my rack here, just so that I don't need to carry the seat. And again, thank you guys so much for all your support, all the awesome comments that I got on the last video, for the contest winners. I plan to do more contests. I do have some more shirts that we can do giveaways on as we hit certain milestones moving forward. So if you haven't liked or subscribed to any of these videos, please do so. Again, these are not only for Lectric XPs, they work for all different type of bikes. Make sure yours is a 31.6 millimeter if you're going to be ordering from me. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I've been able to get a lot more rides out there. Yesterday I did a speed test on the bike, so that I'm going to be changing out my freewheel from the 14 tooth to the 11 tooth, so to show how much extra speed I can get out of it. But more so, if you're not aware of this, but changing the 14 to 11 on the highest gear also helps extend battery life. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in the next video as well, when that video starts to come out. And I've got to make sure I have enough time to go through that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.